Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix this Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, in the last hour or so, a number of more Democrats coming out and saying that Graham Platner, the Democratic Maine Senate candidate, the guy with the big old tattoo from the Totenkopf of Nazi death camps, that he should leave the race. And these new allegations against him tonight, if you're just joining us, are absolutely damning. But in the last little bit, these people who've been by his side and propping this monster up, that's the nicest thing I can say about him, now are coming out and saying he should step aside. Senator Elizabeth Warren, that's a biggie because she, of course, is sort of an icon in the progressive movement. We haven't heard from Bernie Sanders yet. He really has been Graham Platner's biggest backer. Where are you, Bernie Sanders? Speak out. Speak out for women. I thought it was believe all women, Bernie Sanders. But Ro Khanna is speaking out. The Maine Democratic Party is speaking out and saying that he should step aside. Chuck Schumer and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand also calling on Graham Platner to immediately withdraw from the Senate race after these new rape allegations. And again, here's a little bit from his latest accuser. This is a woman, Jenny Rassicott, who has come full ID. I mean, she's doing interviews, speaking out. She is a Democrat, and she says that she dated him for 2 years and that their relationship abruptly stopped when he barged into her house uninvited, called breaking and entering, completely intoxicated. Listen again to what she says happened just a few years ago in 2021.
Voting for.
This has obviously been very difficult for you to talk about for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And even when you're telling the story, you don't use the word.
Yeah.
So let me just be, and I apologize, let me be as direct as I can. Did Graham Platner rape you?
By definition, yes. Absolutely.
Because he had non-consensual sex with you.
Yeah.
Forced himself on you.
Mm-hmm.
Even after you had told him no and fought him off.
Yeah. He violated multiple layers of consent that night by coming into my home when I asked him not to, and by advancing on me when I told him not to, and furthermore, another incident that I had told him not to do. And
with protection.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. By the way that my nervous system reacted to this experience, absolutely.
And she also said, remember the last one was a Republican. And yeah, he dated her too. But then he said, oh, it's all politically motivated. This is all hogwash. This is political opposition. Well, she said, nah, that's not the case. I actually agree with Graham Platner and his progressive ideas. I just don't agree that it's okay to be raped. Listen to this.
You definitely alluded to a bad night.
Yeah.
So bad that you never saw him again afterwards.
Yeah.
But just to underline the point, you're not coming forward because you have any political motivation.
No, not at all. That was actually one of the huge reasons that I didn't come forward and still struggled. Like, that was a huge moral conflict to feel like...
Because you'd like a Democrat to be in the Senate.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the things that he speaks about. They're important. They're important to people. I'm one of those people.
But at the end of the day, you feel he's not being honest.
He's not being honest, no.
She was very credible, very convincing. And earlier today, we also talked to the GOP chair, and he was saying that he's heard that there's even a lot more coming out, that there's a lot more, even more damning information coming out. Made it sound like there's somebody else out there. I mean, what's worse than rape? That's what he was alluding to, that there's something much worse than even this allegation. What, is he accused of murdering somebody? Multiple rapes? I mean, it's like, where do you draw the line? The fact that this guy even ever became a candidate is shocking. And here is Reince Priebus. Reince was the former chair of the Republican National Committee. And he said Democrats need to look in the mirror how they got to this moment. Take a listen.
They've got a window of opportunity where the Maine Democratic Party can dump a candidate, they can put someone else on, and they were probably salivating for this opportunity to do this. The last time you and I talked about this, I predicted that he would be gone. Because, as you know, and you've seen this before, when someone has this many credible problems within about a week of becoming a national story, it's only going to get worse. This is only the first chapter, and if he stays in, there's going to be something else. It's never going to end. But why did the Democrats ignore so many warning signs? The Reddit posts, the sexual comments, telling a Purple Heart recipient that he didn't deserve to live. I mean, the other rape. I mean, the warning signs were there. They stuck with him anyway. Why did they do it? And you're exactly right, because they need to win. They don't care if it's a socialist, if they're wiping whatever body part on the flag, whether they're saying 9/11 is inevitable. They want to win with anybody, no matter what the compromise is.
That's the bottom line. They did not care. In this particular case, they were like, oh, don't you believe in redemption? Don't you believe that everybody changes, that those sweet little assaults? Let's just forgive and forget. I mean, clearly this is a man who's got anger management issues, and clearly I don't believe him. I don't believe him, and I don't think most of America does either. And I actually think Maine Democrats don't believe him either. I don't think they're so in the tank that they're so blinded by these blatant facts in front of them. And now they have a woman accusing him of rape, and the floodgates are opening. But I'm not sure if he's going to drop out or not. I think he will. I mean, it's the average person would. He may just say, I'm sticking with it. So I have a choice of what? Going to the Senate maybe? Or what? Going to jail? 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Alice in Ohio. Line 1. Go ahead, Alice. Your thoughts.
Hi, Rita. First of all, welcome home. We missed you so much, and you covered it so well.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be there, and you know how much I love America. It was so beautiful to be there, and with President Trump, it was so special.
We're so lucky to have this country. Rita, can you imagine the courage it took for this woman to come forward and face? Everyone can see her; they hear her voice, and every time she describes this, she is reliving it.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody that she philosophically believes in, that actually, to me, gives a lot of credibility to it, too. Don't you think?
Absolutely. I'm also wondering, is there a statute of limitations on rape? This man needs to be off the street for a number of reasons. She is still alive, but he killed something in her, and she will have to carry this the rest of her life.
You know, it's interesting. It varies from state to state, Alice, to answer your question. And I believe in Maine, I think it's the charges have to be brought within, I think it's 6 to actually, there's a range. I think it's like 6 to like 20 years. There's actually a fairly decent time range, depending on evidence. Usually it's a 6-year window, typically in Maine. And it would fit within this. I mean, she says it happened less than 5 years ago. So it would fit. So far, we're not hearing she's pressing charges. But she clearly is, and I think her story is very powerful. I don't know if you saw her tonight. She was actually speaking on CNN, but when you see her, I think she's extremely credible. And if you look at her background, there's nothing in her background that says she's politically motivated. Maybe the timing of these things coming forward, not by her, but by others revealing it. Maybe there's some politics to it, but I don't see politics involving it with her. I saw a woman who really was anguished to come forward, but felt she had to because she didn't want this guy anywhere near the Senate, the U.S. Senate. Can you imagine? And also, Alice, if this is true, I always still give people the benefit of the doubt, but clearly there is absolutely a pattern here with this guy. I'm sure there are many more people out there. He seems to have dated a lot of people, seems to have, extreme issues with his behavior. That's the nicest way I can say it. And I'm seeing like a repeated pattern with a lot of these people. The other woman said he put his hand behind her back, remember, twisted her arm, locked her in the room. This one saying rape. I mean, these are serious charges. And you would imagine there's probably a whole bunch more, and we'll see what comes out. I don't think this is the end of it. I think we're going to hear even many more in the next few days, because now that these other Democrats have come forward, they're going to try to get him out. I mean, they clearly have lost everything with him. The only person I haven't heard from, sort of central to him, is Bernie Sanders. What does that say to you about Bernie Sanders, Alice?
Well, we all know what Bernie Sanders is. He's a communist. And what about Elizabeth Warren? She said, he's my kind of man.
Yes,
nice?
She did. But she did call for him. I've been seeing some new information coming out. But yeah, she was like, oh, he's my kind of guy. What, a rapist? I mean, and how could Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, how could anybody stand by this guy? But now she apparently, latest is that she is saying to step aside. So the fact that she's saying it, Ro Khanna, Schumer, again, the only sort of key person we have not heard from is Bernie Sanders. And I think also, I don't think it's necessarily these allegations. I think they're reading the poll numbers. I have lost so much respect for these Democrats. And Ro Khanna, I've never met Ro Khanna. I've met many members of Congress, but I've not met Ro Khanna. And this guy to me seems like the worst of the worst politicians, in the sense that all those allegations came out before about these women, and he was like rushing to go to do the rally with him in Maine. He was the guy who sort of led the stamp of approval. He and Bernie Sanders were at that rally saying what a great guy Graham Platner is. Let's ignore all these horrible, despicable things. Bernie Sanders, who's Jewish, shame on him. And now here we are. And they're going to be in a bind if they have to put somebody else in that position. But the fact that they've even allowed it to this moment, what does that say to you about the Democratic Party, Alice?
I'm disgusted with the hypocrisy. If you look, he is the scum of the earth. He is the worst of the worst. But have you noticed the people that are running? There's something wrong with all of them. This guy's violent. They're anti-American. Do you see what I'm saying? There's something about each one of these people that are running. They're anti-American. This guy is an abuser. He needs to be off the street. Yeah,
he seems like he's a drunk. He's an abuser.
Yes.
He sounds like he's a mean-spirited, horrible drunk. And if indeed these charges are correct, she should press charges. You know.
And this guy's a nut. And everything else about him, the Democrats could see that. Why couldn't they speak up earlier? Why someone who has a Nazi tattoo, he has a history. There has to be a whole string of women who've had problems with him. He is such a silver-tongued devil. He's got an answer for everything.
Except when he's drunk. He sounds like the true Graham Platner. You know what I'm curious, Alice? Remember he's on that the Kick. Remember that app? And he was apparently sexting all these women he was asked, are they underage or not? And he said, oh, I'm sure they were adults. Well, first of all, how does he know they're all adults? I don't agree with any of that, obviously, right?
No.
I mean, that's a lie, right? That's my opinion. And so you got that. And then he's married at the time that he did that. And then he said, me and my wife, we've reconciled. So I'm waiting for these people that he, randomly was contacting on this app that was known for, like young girls, that he was doing while he was married. And he's only been married, I think, like 2-3 years. So in the last 2-3 years, he's apparently been all over the place on this app, and he still is on that app. Remember the picture of him in the towel? So we see more than we ever wanted to see of this guy. But I'm waiting for those girls. Did any of them go on a date with him? Was he as drunk as he was with this woman? I mean, I find it hard to believe that, these are sort of isolated incidences, just like you said. I think there is so much more to break, and that's why I think, the Democrats are panicking, and I also think they're seeing the polls. And I think it's a disgrace in every shape or form. This is the saddest place I think I've ever seen in American politics, that this guy ever was even in the race. Alice, thank you very much. 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show, and we will continue right after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And we will continue talking about Graham Platner. Does he stay? Does he go? I don't know. This guy is a whole new breed, so we'll get into that. Also, I couldn't believe some of the un-American rhetoric over the weekend during the America 250. President Trump, full of red, white, and blue and patriotism. And then you had Zohran Mamdani, who on Friday came out and was bashing America, essentially scolding America, saying America is racist and not a country that in a sense needs to be respected. I found his speech one of the most shocking and just completely inappropriate speeches at a time where we should be celebrating our great nation. And by the way, his wife apparently was not in town for the America 250. She was at an Islamic retreat in Spain. I kid you not. An Islamic retreat in Spain. Let's go to Charlie in New Jersey on line 5. Charlie, your thoughts tonight? Hey, Charlie, you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Yes,
hurry up.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that the leaders of the Democratic Party in Maine, that they're so hungry for power that they're almost even worse than this guy, the Nazi tattoo. They're even worse than him.
That's an interesting point. And you know what? I may agree with you, although he's pretty bad. But you're right. They are equally bad that they have been willing to turn a blind eye to this guy, Charlie. And to me and you, and I think everybody with common sense, that speaks volumes.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
Yes! Yes! A Lego set is a gift that always clicks. And clicks. Ooh, ooh, and clicks. For kids who love to save the day, choose a Lego set. A gift that always clicks.
Rita Cosby is on. Breaking news.
And President Trump sounding the alarm about radical Democrats. And of course, over the weekend, we heard a lot from him about the concern about the communist takeover of the Democratic Party. These ultra progressives with these radical ideas. And in the case of Graham Platner, some very concerning allegations, including some of rape today against him and huge calls for him to finally get out of the race. But President Trump is saying that this party will do radical things if they get elected, especially based on some of these new individuals who are already the nominees for their party and probably going to win, like Chevalier in New York, who's in a very blue district. That's the woman who washed her hands with the American flag. And there's still a number of other ones out there that are in the race. President Trump putting out on Truth Social saying, get smart, Republicans. If you don't, you won't be in office for long. And he put out a long post expressing the need to pass voter ID laws and terminate the filibuster. The president saying it's mandatory. Otherwise, the next time Democrats get elected, they will add 2 more states. They'll add 4 more senators. They'll add 8 more congressmen, at least 20 electoral votes. Of course, also they're talking about packing the Supreme Court, adding more Supreme Court justices. And President Trump says all of this will ensure that no Republican will ever hold the presidency again if these people get elected. So wake up, he's saying, Republicans, and do your job. He is fighting tooth and nail, but he needs Congress to help him and do their part too. It looks like the House, in fact, Speaker Mike Johnson, who I also saw at the White House last Friday, and he seemed to be in good spirits. He believes that the voter ID, the Save America Act, will pass in the House, but it, of course, has to pass the Senate. And so far, we're not hearing that it will pass the Senate, and it has to pass both of them, obviously, for it to be able to become law. And of course, the president would sign off on it in a heartbeat. He's been begging for this, but it doesn't look like the votes are there yet in the Senate. But the president very much talking about the pride of this country, how great America is. Nobody does red, white, and blue and patriotic than President Trump. I mean, he's amazing. He is so proud of this country. He exudes his love of America. And boy, I thought his speech on Saturday night was absolutely blockbuster. I love seeing the veterans there, you guys. The 107-year-old veteran who, remember, got up and was the one who was spotlighting the D-Day flag. Then you had all these other veterans that were, 100, 102, 103. Oh, my goodness. It was so beautiful. I had tears in my eyes, and I just thought it was so powerful. And here's President Trump talking on Saturday night at America 250, talking about just the fight for America and the fight for freedom and who we are.
America will never be a communist country. Won't happen. Communism is a loser, and it always will be. The communist system is the opposite of the American system, and the communist system has never worked. Our warriors did not fight communism on battlefields across the world, only to have that menace rear its ugly head right back here in America. We're not going to let it happen. We like to stop a threat like that immediately and before it begins. It's like a cancer. You got to cut it out. You got to cut it out fast.
It is like a cancer. I agree with him. It is exactly like a cancer. And you can tell he is deeply concerned where this country's headed. I am too. This is just such a virulent, to me, anti-American strain. And he repeated also how America must stay strong and must cut it out. Take a listen.
Americans must never forget that we are a historic and heroic people with a heroic spirit and a heroic purpose on this beautiful earth of ours. We are made the courage and the fire and the flesh and the blood of the best and the bravest people this world has ever produced. We are the bravest and the best. Tonight we pledge allegiance to the flag they gave us, and we say, God bless the immortal patriots of 1776, and long live the cause of independence.
Wow. It was just touching. It was beautiful, and it was inspiring. And you juxtapose that with the speech by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. The kind of rhetoric you hear from Graham Platner, the kind of rhetoric you hear from Chevalier, the kind of rhetoric you hear from Abdul El Sayed, who's running in Michigan. And Zohran Mamdani's speech, I just found disgusting. He's standing there with a group of immigrants and talking about how America and like mass people, ICE coming are swooping people off the street on our 250th birthday. What a repugnant speech from the mayor. That it was really just one of the most unseemly things I think I've ever seen. You can't celebrate America. You can't march in the Israel parade. Well, here he is talking about what he thinks America really is in his mind, in the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America mind.
At City Hall, as I sit behind George Washington's desk, alongside new Americans who came to this country, I cannot see all of America. But like so many who came before, I can see New York City. The city I see today looks very different than the one that greeted George Washington. In July of 1776, our city simmered under the yoke of oppression. The British had imposed a colonial rule so repressive that 250 years ago, 80 miles south, a small group of newspaper editors, farmers, and soldiers signed their names on a document declaring truths that feel self-evident now, but were revolutionary then, establishing the ideals our nation still strives to fulfill. The British did not take it well. War broke out, and that August, as the largest battle of the Revolutionary War unfolded in Brooklyn, batteries on Governor's Island took aim at British ships anchored just offshore. We were outgunned, we were outmanned, and we were soundly defeated. After only a few months, it appeared our fledgling attempt at democracy was on the precipice of collapse. But that night, with the moon overhead, thousands of our soldiers silently climbed into ferries and flat-bottom boats and escaped to Manhattan. The Continental Army survived to fight another day. Independence may have been declared in Philadelphia, but it was rescued in New York City. George Washington was the last to leave Brooklyn. As he waited at the river's edge, the sun beginning its rise, he would have looked out over New York City's waters and seen what so many have seen in the 250 years since. An opportunity to begin anew. Those opportunities, like everything in New York City, are not given. They are won. In 1838, 11 years after New York outlawed slavery, a recently emancipated black man by the name of James Weeks sought to begin anew as well, and to help hundreds of others do the same. He bought property in Brooklyn, won himself the right to vote, and sold lots to others newly freed. When they landed in New York Harbor, they knew they had something waiting for them.
And that was probably the nicest part of his speech. The rest of it, he essentially called America racist. He essentially slammed America. Talked about mass men, ICE, swooping people off the streets, as I was saying. Then you also had Gavin Newsom blasting President Trump. You had a few others in there. I mean, it's like, what is going on with these people? That really, to me, was just repugnant. Like, they can't celebrate America because it's Trump. How about a couple of the states? There were about 11 states that were there at the state fair where I went, and they weren't representing because there's blue governors, Democratic governors. It's like anything is anti-Trump. If it has to do with Trump, we don't want it, even if it celebrates America. They can't celebrate it. I mean, to me, this is disgusting. We really have reached a brand new low, and it's a really sad low, and it's concerning, guys. Between that and between Graham Platner, boy, is America in trouble. It's a mess. And I think what happened, especially with the state fair, with this Mamdani speech and some of the others, this is like Trump derangement syndrome on steroids. This is like America derangement syndrome on steroids. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And this is the Rita Cosby Show. And guess what? When Mamdani did his speech, he got a stamp of approval from the guy who's been backing Graham Platner big time, Ro Khanna of California, who said, boy, wasn't that wonderful?
So I know you campaigned with Mayor Mamdani when he was running. I'm sure you probably watched that speech today. What did you think of it, and what do you think about? Give us your sense of the contrast he was drawing there.
I'm glad he did it. It's showing that the same country that produced Donald Trump produced Zohran Mamdani. And Zohran, as you know, is a student of history. So it was significant he did that with George Washington's death, with New York being the first capital of this country. People often don't remember that. Zohran knows that. And he was giving a powerful message of this linking back to our founding ideals, that the Declaration says that we have equality for every person, and that this is a nation really that is based on that creed and has welcomed immigrants, and he's claiming that vision as true patriotism and inspiring, and it's going to resonate across the country.
It resonated. It sung. I mean, what a disgrace. He's sitting there at George Washington's desk, and he's slamming America and slamming our great nation on the anniversary of our 250th birth. I mean, to me, that's just disgusting. And that epitomizes what will happen if these people get even bigger power. And why did he think like he was like the guy to give the rebuttal to, to our great country, to the celebration? Like he's the rebuttal guest for the America 250? Isn't that weird? Like, why is he like propelling himself to being the guy who's going to give the Trash America speech on that day? And why is he still representing a city in America? I'm sorry. I find it really disgusting. He's not mayor of Gaza. He's mayor of New York. And by the way, there was a Minnesota mayor who on the anniversary, of course, of America 250, where was he? He was not in New York, that Minnesota mayor. That mayor was in Somalia. You can't make it up. So Zohran Mamdani's wife was in Spain at an Islamic retreat. And then there was a Minnesota mayor who was in Somalia because he felt that was the right place to be on July 4th on America 250. I mean, these people, do they not have any appreciation of this great country? Do they not get it? They're worse than I even thought. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Teddy in Yonkers, line 4. Go ahead, Teddy.
Hi, Rita. Rita, you know I'm against totally the Democratic Socialists. I've already told Dominic I'm not voting for Democrats anymore.
Wow.
Schumer has disappointed me, big time. But Rita, on the other hand...
Wait, and before we go forward, Teddy, let me just ask you, what turned you to not vote for Democrats?
The ideology of the people who won the primaries, what they espouse, the anti-Semitism, the hatred, the incompatibility of any type of reasonable dialogue. And they're disgusting, especially that Chevrolet, whatever her name is. I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah, Chevalier. It's a weird name. It is. I mean, she's horrible.
Oh, absolutely. But Rita, on the other hand, Trump has done a good job, but I'm going to give him 2 grades. I'm going to give him a grade of F for the Ukraine war. He hasn't. Look what Putin keeps on doing, sending in drones and killing people. I read the New York Times today about the high school prom and the students that were killed, and they couldn't attend the prom. And then I'm going to give him a grade of C, as General Keane said many times on your radio program with John. He should have gone in and finished the job. But Rita, you don't say that.
Actually, Teddy, I do. I have said in Iran's case that I do wish he had gone in and finished the job. I absolutely have, because I agree with General Keane. And I have actually very much said that because I think it needed to be done. I'm sure there's some other master strategy involved. General Keane has been pretty outspoken about it. He believes politics maybe took over at the last minute, but he also believes that it's inevitable that President Trump is going to have to, he believes, finish the job. And he also believes that President Trump has been the most courageous coming, against Iran of any modern president. That's for sure. I mean,
agree.
And I agree with him on those. I agree.
I agree with them.
So you and I agree on that. On Ukraine, let's see what happens. He's on his way right now to Turkey for the NATO summit. definitely, NATO stepping up its efforts and doing more, and what's going to happen with Russia and Ukraine, that's absolutely going to be front row and center. Russia, by the way, sadly just hit a location in Ukraine and took some lives, as you know, and then of course Ukraine hit some power stations too. So it's getting really intense.
But 5 years now.
I know and I do hope it gets resolved soon. I will say I do believe President Trump has been deeply trying on that, Teddy. I mean, he is absolutely, he's been talking to Zelensky. He's meeting with Zelensky, by the way, at this NATO meeting. That's on the agenda. And he has been on the phone with Putin because you got to talk to both sides to get to a resolution. But I hope that it's soon. He sounded a little optimistic today. I was listening to him in the press conference, but it's a tough thing, Teddy. I mean, you got to admit too, that all Joe Biden said was don't. So at least you got to give President Trump credit. He has absolutely been trying. It's not like Putin is an easy character.
Oh, I agree with you. He's trying, but he said he would be able to settle it, and and that hasn't come to commission.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I don't think it's for a lack of trying. That's why let's be patient. Let's see what happens after this week. Maybe there's something big that happens on that front, because boy, that would be great. And Ukraine has certainly been showing some really great fight of late. They always have, but they've really taken it to Russia. So we are praying for peace, Teddy. And Teddy, it's great to hear your confession about the Democratic Party. We love you, Teddy. We'll talk to you soon. And everybody will continue your calls after the break. 1-800-848-9222. But first, support our heroes.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire. Whoa, that's good. This might be the drink of the summer. Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it. Okay.
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers Concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on your business purchases. Plus, you can earn 125,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 15th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. Check out the new card design at www.delta.com/Spotify Business. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends July 15th, 2026.
Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with the powerful story from Tonawanda, New York, where Vietnam War veteran Michael Militello is among the latest inductees into the New York State Veterans Hall of Fame. And even though it's been decades since he served in Vietnam, he has one last outstanding mission, he says, to fulfill. It's to find the nurse who helped treat his combat wounds when he was in Vietnam. A nurse who he just recently learned happens to be from Tonawanda, New York. Same location. He said, I haven't seen her in 38 years. Nurse Linda Pickert. He says on the day that he was being honored, he said, I looked for her and I just found somebody in this group that says he went to high school with her. So I'm going to look for her. She saved my life. I would not be standing if it were not for her. So how beautiful. Hopefully he will locate Nurse Linda Pickett. He said when he finds her, he was asked, what are you going to say? He goes, I don't know. I've thought about it a million times. I will definitely give her a big hug and thank her for saving my life. Well, everybody, help America to never, ever forget. Donate just $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Be sure to check them out. They are the best. We saw so many America's heroes this weekend, and we can never thank them enough and their families. Check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's go to your calls. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania. Joaquin, your thoughts.
Good evening, Rita. First of all, congratulations. I'm jealous of you for having the opportunity to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office.
Thank you. He was amazing, and it was just beautiful to be there, too. But he was in such great spirits. You know how much he loves this country. And he was a kid in a candy store on America 250.
Yeah, I think he threw the greatest fireworks that's on record. But you know something? I'm going to say something. I think that run, Graham, run. Because you know what? The dirtier he gets, perhaps the more easy it is for Susan Collins to defeat him.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very, very good point, Joaquin. And I thought about that too on for the Republicans. You're right. A battered Graham Platner, even more battered, should be easier to beat. But that guy, boy, what an embarrassment.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?